You have the headquarters, you have the state offices. Elections don't take place at the national headquarters. Elections don't take place at the state offices. Elections take place at the polling unit level. And you are the closest to the polling unit level. Beyond the EOs, what do we have? RACs and super RACs, and then polling units. And so you play a very, very critical role indeed in the conduct of elections. And that's why we can't conduct a review of the elections without involving those who made the election tick. So let me say on behalf of the Commission, we're extending our profound appreciation for the sacrifice, dedication, and commitment of all the EOs for the 2023 election. You received materials in good time, activated the RACs, dealt with transportation issues, and through your hard work and the support of the Commission, for the first time in the last 4 electoral cycles, presidential and National Assembly elections were not postponed even for 1 hour. Even the governorship election that had to be adjusted by a week, it wasn't for reason of lack of preparation by the Commission. It was essentially a legal issue, and we were able to remove the incumbents to enable us to conduct the elections. So once again, let me welcome the EOs in a very special way, and I think it is in appreciation of the role of the EOs that the Chief Technical Advisor decided not to take his designated seat. He decided to sit with the EOs. So for this meeting, Professor Eila is an honorary EO. Other senior officials of the Commission, members of the INEC Press Corps, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this meeting. Some of you here today may recall that at the meeting with the resident electoral commissioners held 2 weeks ago, on Tuesday, 4th July 2023, the Commission announced the commencement of the review of the 2023 general election. This was followed a week later by state-level review meetings nationwide involving our regular staff as well as some of the ad hoc staff. Today, we commence a more focused engagement at the national level with the Commission's frontline officials, the electoral officers. We also considered it appropriate to interface with transport providers to review logistic arrangements by inviting the leadership of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, the National Association of Road Transport Owners, and the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria. There is no doubt that the success of any election primarily depends on the ability to deploy personnel and materials to various locations. In Nigeria, this involves the biggest logistics deployment the nation periodically undertakes across vast terrains and often difficult topography. There is no logistic activity that this nation undertakes in peacetime or even in wartime like elections, where personnel and materials are deployed to almost 180,000 locations by land, by air, and by sea, and you make this happen. I think you deserve to clap for yourself for the service you render to this country. Now, logistics or transportation has been a perennial challenge over time, but is now compounded by the issue of infrastructure and insecurity. However, the Commission has to deploy personnel and materials not only for election day activities, but electoral activities in general, covering the period before, during, and after the elections. Many of the activities, such as the continuous voters registration, monitoring of party primaries for the nomination of candidates for the election, and the procurement and deployment of sensitive and non-sensitive materials must be accomplished ahead of the election. Otherwise, critical election day processes will be impossible. This meeting, therefore, provides an opportunity to interact on a wide range of themes covering at least 10 critical areas which I've highlighted. Number one, we need to review the general state of preparedness for the 2023 general election. Number two, voters' registration process and the associated issues of adequacy, timing, display of the voters' register for claims and objections, clean up of the voters' register, and collection of the PVCs, the permanent voters' card. Number three, recruitment, training, deployment, and remuneration of ad hoc staff, including specific issues of mode of recruitment, conduct of training, effectiveness and utility of the e-learning platforms, and strategy for efficient payment of ad hoc staff. Four, matters arising from the implementation of the expansion of voter access to polling units. Number five, receipt and deployment of election materials. Six, technology during elections, including the various portals for the nomination of ad hoc staff, candidates, accreditation of observers and media organizations, as well as the polling and collation agents, and voter registration, accreditation, and result management. Under the law, the names of polling agents are supposed to be submitted to the electoral officers through the resident electoral commissions. One of the innovations introduced by the commission was to create a portal whereby parties can upload the names of their agents, and the commission produced customized ID cards, including photographs of the polling agents. And in 2023, for the general election, we produced well over 1.5 million identity cards for polling and collation agents. Number seven, election security. Number eight, election day processes with reference to forward logistics in terms of transportation of personnel and delivery of materials to registration area centers and the polling units, including specific issues of engagement with transport unions and the implementation of state-level obligations. We have a memorandum of understanding with the unions, but we have contracts with individual transport providers, and a certain percentage of the cost of each vehicle goes to the unions for effective supervision. Would like to hear from you, how effectively did this work? And reverse logistics. It's not only about forward logistics, but reverse logistics, and movement of personnel and retrieval of field assets. When they deployed the ad hoc personnel and the materials, were the vehicles available for reverse logistics? We need to hear from you. Number 9, inventory of election materials, particularly the status and storage of reusable assets, such as ballot boxes, voting cubicles, electric power generators, and so many more. These are materials that we use over and over again, and therefore all usable materials we must have an inventory of them. Number 9, physical conditions of storage and other storage facilities in the various local government offices? And what about the assets? Bearing in mind that in addition to conducting pre-election activities and electoral activities, INEC also manages some of the largest real estate in this country. Very few people know that we have over 1,000 buildings that INEC has to maintain. The headquarters in Abuja, the annex in Blantyre, the Electoral Institute, 36 state offices, plus the FCT 37. We have 6 zonal stores, 2 sub-zonal stores in Lagos and Kano. We have offices in 774 local government areas. In some places, because of difficult terrain, we have actually more than one office. So we maintain 1,000 buildings as an agency. So it's not just about the conduct of elections. So I would like to know how well are we doing in terms of the opportunity we have for the storage of facilities and in terms of the maintenance of our movable and immovable assets. And some of these facilities are not just administrative facilities for the convenience of management or administration of elections. They are also electoral facilities because some of them serve as collation and declaration centers during elections. So similarly, in line with the Commission's policy, when the review engagements are completed, a comprehensive report will be prepared. I therefore urge you to lend your wealth of experience to the discussions in order to identify areas of strength and weaknesses for immediate improvement in forthcoming elections, especially the 3 off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states, scheduled to hold on Saturday, the 11th of November, 2023. You know there is no election season in Nigeria any longer. Elections hold throughout there. In November this year, we'll have 3 governorship elections. But before the governorship elections, vacancies have already occurred in 2 federal constituencies, Surulere 1 in Lagos and Jalingo Yoro Singh federal constituency in Taraba State, and 2 state constituencies, Chibok state constituency in Borno State and Chikum state constituency in Kaduna State. And these vacancies occurred barely 3 weeks after the inauguration of the National and State Assemblies. So there is no election season for the Commission any longer. All year round, we conduct elections. There is no respite between one general election and another. So those of you who are EOs in the states that I've mentioned, you have to press up for the off-cycle governorship elections as well as the by-elections. I want to assure Nigerians that in the next 2 weeks, the Commission plans to hold more engagements with internal and external stakeholders, including political parties, civil society organizations, the media, and security agencies. So on this note, it's my pleasure to welcome our foot soldiers, the EOs. It's also my pleasure to welcome the transport unions to this meeting. I thank you and God bless.